You worked for 30 years. You made every mortgage payment. And the day finally came. Your house was paid off. That felt like real security, didn't it? But here's something most people in their 50s and 60s don't find out until it's too late. If you ever need Medicaid to cover nursing home care, the government may have a legal claim on that home after you pass away. Not a rumor, not a loophole. It's a federal program called Medicaid Estate Recovery. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how it works, who it affects, and what you can do right now to protect what you've built. Let's start with the basics. Medicaid is the government health insurance program that covers low-income Americans, but it also pays for long-term care, meaning nursing home stays, for people who qualify financially. The problem is, Medicaid is expensive for the government. A nursing home can cost $7,000 to $10,000 a month. So Congress passed a law in 1993 requiring every state to run what's called a Medicaid Estate Recovery Program, or MERP. Here's how it works in plain English. If you receive Medicaid benefits after age 55, especially for long-term care, your state is required to try to recover what it spent from your estate after you die. And your biggest asset, that's usually your home. So even though the house is in your name, even though the mortgage is gone, the state can file a claim against it once you pass. Your heirs may have to sell it to settle that claim. The key takeaway here is this: Medicaid is not a free benefit. It's more like a loan against your estate, one that comes due after death. Now, before you panic, let me be clear about who this actually affects, because not everyone is in danger. First, Medicaid Estate Recovery only applies if you personally received Medicaid benefits. If you paid for your care out of pocket or through Medicare or private insurance, you have nothing to worry about from this program. Second, the recovery only happens after you die, and only under certain conditions. If your spouse is still living in the home, the state cannot force a sale, not until your spouse also passes. If you have a child under 21 living in the home, the state must wait. If you have a disabled or blind child of any age, the state cannot recover at all. So the at-risk group is really people who used Medicaid for long-term care, who are single or widowed, whose children are adults and independent. If that describes you or your situation in the future, then this matters a lot. The actionable takeaway: don't assume your house is automatically protected just because you own it free and clear. Here's where many people make a costly mistake. You might be thinking, okay, I'll just give my house to my kids before I need Medicaid. Problem solved, right? Not so fast. Medicaid has what's called a 5-year look-back period. When you apply for Medicaid, the government reviews every asset transfer you made in the past 60 months. That's 5 full years. If you gave away your house, transferred it to a trust, or sold it below market value during that window, Medicaid can penalize you. The penalty isn't a fine. It's worse. They delay your eligibility. For example, if your home is worth $300,000 and nursing home care in your area costs $8,000 a month, they divide $300,000 by $8,000, and that means you'd be ineligible for Medicaid for about 37 months. That's over 3 years, where you'd have to pay out of pocket. The key takeaway: if protecting your home from Medicaid is part of your plan, you need to start that planning at least 5 years before you think you might need long-term care. Waiting until a health crisis hits is too late. So what can you actually do? There are a few legitimate, legal strategies that elder law attorneys use, and these are worth knowing even if you're healthy right now. The first is an irrevocable Medicaid Asset Protection Trust. You transfer your home into this trust while keeping the right to live there. Because you no longer legally own the home, it's generally protected from Medicaid recovery, but only if you do this more than 5 years before applying. The second strategy is a life estate deed, sometimes called a ladybird deed in certain states. This lets you keep control of your home while alive, but passes it automatically to your heirs when you die, potentially avoiding probate and Medicaid recovery in some states. Third is the caregiver child exemption. If one of your adult children moved in with you and provided care for at least 2 years that kept you out of a nursing home, Medicaid may allow you to transfer the home to that child without a penalty. Fourth, and this one surprises people, converting your home equity into an annuity or a Medicaid-compliant spend-down strategy can sometimes be done legally with professional help. The bottom line, none of these strategies are do-it-yourself projects. You need an elder law attorney. The cost of a consultation, usually $300 to $500, is nothing compared to losing a $400,000 home. This is one of the most common points of confusion I hear, so let's clear it up right now. Medicare and Medicaid are two completely separate programs. Medicare is the federal health insurance you earn through your work history. You get it at 65 regardless of your income or assets. Medicare does cover some nursing home care, but only in limited situations. Short-term rehabilitation after a hospital stay, typically up to 100 days under very specific rules. After that, Medicare stops paying. That's when many people turn to Medicaid, and that's when the estate recovery rules kick in. So if you're 65 and thinking, I have Medicare, I'm covered for everything, I want you to take that assumption off the table right now. Long-term custodial care, meaning help with daily activities like bathing, dressing, eating, is not covered by Medicare long-term. It falls to Medicaid or your own savings. And the average nursing home stay lasts about 2.5 years. At $8,000 a month, that's $240,000 or more. Knowing the difference between Medicare and Medicaid could literally save your family's inheritance. Many people worry that they've waited too long to do anything about this. And I want to reassure you that if you're in your 50s or even your early 60s and you're healthy right now, you likely have time to put protections in place. Here's your simple action plan. Step 1. Find out what your state's specific Medicaid estate recovery rules are. Every state is slightly different. Some states are aggressive and go after all assets. Others limit recovery to the probate estate. Your state's Medicaid office website will have this information, or a quick call to an elder law attorney can clarify it. Step 2. Get a rough estimate of your home's current value and think about what long-term care might cost in your area. This gives you a sense of the potential exposure. Step 3. If you have a spouse, adult children who are caregivers, or if your home is your largest asset, schedule a consultation with a certified elder law attorney. Look for the CELA designation, which stands for Certified Elder Law Attorney. Step 4. Consider whether a long-term care insurance policy might make sense for you. If you can afford the premiums and qualify medically, it can pay for care without triggering Medicaid at all, which means no estate recovery. None of this has to be complicated. 1 or 2 focused conversations with the right professional can give you a plan that protects your home and gives your family peace of mind. Your home represents decades of sacrifice, discipline, and hard work. The last thing you want is for a health crisis in your 70s or 80s to take it away from your family. Not through bad luck, but through a law most people never heard of until it was too late. The good news is that Medicaid estate recovery is not inevitable. With the right planning, started early enough, most people can protect their home and still qualify for benefits if they need them. If this video gave you clarity on something you hadn't considered before, share it with someone you love who's in their 50s or 60s. Because this is the kind of conversation that changes outcomes. And if you want to go deeper on long-term care planning, protecting your assets in retirement, or understanding how Medicare and Medicaid work together, there's more waiting for you on this channel.